Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everybody enjoyed Royal Rumble. I'm quite sure there's some people already trying to figure out where this ranks and past Royal Rumbles. I thought it was actually a pretty good Royal Rumble. I mean, there were some times I felt it was, pretty slow, but I mean, what a way to close out the show, I'm going to start there with my review. Um, with the Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns match. And, you know, pieces of what I thought was going to happen happened. If you listen to my prediction episode, I said probably what they're going to do with Samu is that they're going to put him in a situation where he's going to have to, make that decision. And he's either going to do it or he's not going to do it. And he was put in that situation. They handcuffed Kevin to the ropes, they're beating him down. And if Sammy was going to take his shot, I thought they would do this, but Sammy would, walk away, or as he walked away, they would attack him. But instead, he went and attacked attacked Roman. And the reason I'm laughing is because, I'm thinking about Roman's facial expression when he got hit, because just the whole way that scene was done was very reminiscent of when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield. Just the way he fell into the ropes, just the look on his face, it just sort of reminded me of that. But, listen to how crazy the crowd went. And that also is reminiscent of when Alex Riley turned on The Miz. And when you get that kind of reaction from the crowd, that just shows the magnitude and the greatness of the storytelling. Because this was a great story. Okay. From something that, if you read the dirt sheets, was supposed to be temporary with Sammy. I think even Roman or somebody in the bloodline did an interview saying that, Sammy wasn't supposed to be part of the bloodline. It was supposed to be like a few things here and there, nothing permanent, but it became such a hit, they ran with it. So kudos to the storytelling on this. You saw the commercial that we're going to get the Elimination Chamber match. And, also reading some of the dirt sheets, they were saying that there was never a purpose, or there's never a plan, rather, for us to see Roman versus Sammy for the title at WrestleMania or at any other point. There's a good chance now we may see Sammy versus Roman at Elimination Chamber. Obviously what's happening with Jay. I like what they're doing with Jay because, Jay was always, iffy. If you remember in the very, very, very beginnings of the Bloodline storyline, was getting Jay to see things Roman's way. And remember they had their match at Hell in a Cell, several years back. So, I can see Jay trying to defend Sammy. It was a mistake. We put him in this position. Jay's not going to get kicked out of the bloodline. Okay, so that's not coming. It's just how far is he going to go to defend Sammy, trying to give him another chance, having him plead his case that you put me in a position against someone who is my friend. We'll see where that goes. But I was a little surprised to see Jay walk away. I think that's good because I think now you're giving us, you're extending the storyline to some degree. You're giving us a new layer. Jay couldn't stand Sammy. Now he's, defending him, and now it's like, what's going on? Okay, so it's good. The match itself, it had its high points. The match between Kevin and Roman. I mean, like I said, we all knew what the outcome was going to be. We know he's not dropping the title right now. I still think there's a chance he may not even drop it at WrestleMania, depending on who he was going to face. Um, but I would be quite surprised now that we know for sure that it's going to be Roman versus Cody. I would be very surprised if Roman walks out with it. Now, it depends on how they want to tell the story with Cody. Do they want to, they're doing this whole thing about, writing a chapter, writing a story, and all this stuff. Could it be that he loses at WrestleMania and now he has to go through Money in the Bank or something? Who knows? But we know Roman is walking into WrestleMania as the champion. And I think we can clearly see where they're going with the tag team titles, that it will be Kevin and Sammy versus the Usos. It's just, how do we get there? You know, will we now see Jay get that hatred back for Sammy that he had in the beginning? Because as you can see, after Sammy hit Roman, he didn't go after Jay. It's more like, I'm sorry, put his position. So I think what they're going to try to do is try to somewhat show us some sort of salvaging of of Sammy and Jay. You know, somehow try to convince to let Sammy back in. I don't know. But it will be for an interesting story. But for the match itself, the match was okay. It had its high points, but I think the key was the excuse me. I think was the key. The ending was the key. The story of what happened afterwards, the beatdown, and the choice that Sammy was going to have to make. So clearly, we're going down this road of the breakup and how we're going to get to these matches at WrestleMania. Going to the men's Royal Rumble, I felt that at some moments it was a little slow. I felt that some moments were actually predictable. They do that a lot where, they try to maybe finish a storyline. So, there was no surprise that, Drew McIntyre threw out Karrion Kross. There was no surprise. The big surprise to me out of that whole thing, I'm sure some will say, was Logan Paul showing up. But the big surprise to me was the Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley. Because what I thought was going to happen was that they were sort of going to eliminate each other, in a sense of Lashley was going to run to the ropes and clothesline Brock, but the momentum takes them both over, or vice versa, that Brock did that to Lashley and they went over. I was a little surprised by how cleanly, I guess is the word, on how Bobby tossed out Lashley. But I like the ending of it, where, Brock is angry now. So, we're going to get that match. I'm still not convinced we're going to get that match at Elimination Chamber. I wouldn't be surprised if they're both in the Elimination Chamber, and whatever happens off of that steps us into WrestleMania. Because, yes, you had the face-to-face with Gunther and Brock Lesnar, but I just don't see that match being a WrestleMania match. I don't think Gunther, yes, his display in the Royal Rumble made him look strong, but I think overall you haven't made Gunther look as dominant as he should for somebody you want to face Brock Lesnar. So I would really be surprised if they go that route. I'm thinking we're going to get this at WrestleMania, but let's see what happens. I can see them being in the Elimination Chamber, because remember that was last year, and then they did something where Bobby got taken out, and Lesnar ended up winning the WWE Championship at last year's Elimination Chamber. It even looked like when they were doing the face to face with Brock and Gunther, it looked a little awkward because clearly they were killing time until Lashley got to the ring. So that little moment looked a little awkward. Kofi Kingston, it looks like this was the second year in a row that he did a botch. It looked like I think he was supposed to land in the chair, but the chair flipped over because, Cole was trying to sell it. This was before Brock Lesnar came out. Cole was trying to sell it that, I think his leg was still on it. It's clear that he slipped out of the chair. Okay. So I don't know. Xavier's supposed to be holding the chair. I don't know what happened. But to me, that looked like another botch, second year in a row, that Cody was supposed to land on the chair, and I guess Xavier was going to push him back to the ring. I don't know, but that was just something that that I noticed. Seth Rollins eliminating Lashley was a little bit surprising. I kind of thought, Theory and those two would sort of, be in the mix. I don't think it was an accident that we saw Seth and Cody at the end, and Seth being a little heelish there with the two of them. But Logan Paul tossing out Seth. Are we gonna get Seth versus Logan Paul? Because think about it. WrestleMania, they try to put almost everybody on the card. So you're trying to figure out who's gonna work with who. Theory and Seth have been going back and forth. Could they have a WrestleMania match for the United States Championship? Absolutely. But I'm thinking we're going to get Logan versus Seth. I think we're definitely getting John Cena versus. I shouldn't say definitely. I will say this: if Theory, I'm sorry, yes, if Theory and Cena are not going to have their match, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we will get a triple threat match for the United States Championship with Seth versus Theory versus Logan Paul. Because I think we just got the seeds planted for a Logan Paul Seth Rollins storyline. I think we just got those seeds. I really do. And I think the only way Theory gets planted into that is if there is no John Cena coming for WrestleMania. Because you can continue the story between the two. Because Theory and Seth had that interaction already before about seeing each other at the Royal Rumble. Now you can sprinkle in Logan Paul. That's gonna be my guess. Either Seth versus Logan or Seth versus Logan versus Theory. That was my takeaway from it. I think we're gonna get Sheamus versus Gunther for the Intercontinental title because of their interactions, and I think we're gonna get Drew McIntyre versus Solo Sikoa. I think those are the matches that we're gonna get, or at least some of them that we're gonna get, just coming out of the Royal Rumble. Now, Solo and Drew did not interact in the Royal Rumble. Solo wasn't in the Royal Rumble, but Michael Cole keeps bringing up, revenge for Clash at the Castle. So that's the trajectory that I see some of these matches going just based off of it. As far as big surprises, I will say this: I don't like the fact that Cody won at 30. Okay, because remember there was a big deal about how nobody won from number 30, and maybe I'm a little protective of it because Undertaker was the first one to do it, and I love the Undertaker because Undertaker did it. Then the following year, Cena did it. Okay. Yes, it's several years down the road. Now you had Cody win it, but it's been a while since you had somebody win it from number one. Like, tell that story. I'm trying to think who was the last. Was it Chris? Was Chris Benoit the last person to win it from number one? Because I'm trying to think if they did somebody else to sort of erase that memory. I know Shawn Michaels did it. Did they have somebody else do it after Benoit? I'm gonna have to look that up. But I wasn't a fan of Cody winning at 30. But like I said, there was no surprise of Cody winning. I think we all saw that coming. As far as surprises go, was it a big surprise that Edge came back? No. I think we've all been waiting for this to happen because we know that's unfinished business between Judgment Day and Edge. So I didn't really find that too much of a surprise. I didn't really find too much of a surprise that Booker T showed up because, Booker T's from the area. I did notice how gingerly he was moving in the ring and being careful how he was swinging his leg not to hurt himself. But it's no surprise to me how Booker went out because Booker has said in his podcast, yeah, he'll do a tag match. He'll stand in the apron. He'll hit like 2 or 3 moves, get out, collect his check, and go home. So what did Booker do? He came to the ring. He hit a leg. He hit his bookend. He got a spin a Rudy, and then he got tossed out. Give him his check. He's done. Maybe a little surprised with Logan Paul. I'll admit I was a little surprised to see him coming back. So that was a bit of a surprise. But overall, the Men's Royal Rumble wasn't bad. Like I said, I thought it had some slow moments in it. I think it was much better than the women's match. I think the women's match got better towards the end. I'll get into that in a little bit. But, I'm happy Brock didn't make it to the end because I was even sort of wondering when he came in at, number 12? I was even trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to do this? Because, once Brock comes in, he's just going to pretty much be tossing everybody out. And I'm like, come on, let's not go down this road again. And clearly you knew at some point Lashley was going to come out because they were going to do the interaction between the two. So I was very happy how they did it. Like I said, I thought it would have been done a different way. Also, I thought there was a point where Lesnar was on the outside that they had Lashley over the ropes. I thought he would run and pull Lashley down. That was something else I was surprised that he didn't do. But, you know, it was what it was. We knew, like I said, we knew Cody was going to be the winner. That's no big surprise. But I think the big thing out of the men's Royal Rumble that we got is that I think we got a sense of what future matches we're going to see in a not too distant excuse me, in a not too distant future. As far as the other matches, because I'm going to do the women's match last, the women's Royal Rumble last. The pitch black match. You know, Bray gets a lot of criticism that you'll get great promos, you'll get great, characters and great storytelling, but the matches is what lacks the fire. And that it just sort of ends with the promos and everything, and when you get to the match, you're disappointed. This was not supposed to be a great match. I did like, I like the idea of how they did it because they easily could have screwed this up. And, they had the neon stuff, the lighting, so you could still see what was going on. I think Bray's face makeup was great. I did like that. Now, come on. If you're listening to this, I really want you to put this in the comments. Did anybody get Predator vibes? Did Bray Wyatt not look like the Predator with some of that makeup? And then when he put the other mask on and the red eyes and some of the red, come on. I'm thinking he looks like the fucking Predator. Come on. Tell me you agree with me. And I even went online on Twitter and all that stuff to see if somebody said it, and I didn't see it. But come on. He looked like the freaking Predator. I like the ending. When he put the other mask on, I think they're trying to say his evil grew or he morphed or something like that they were trying to tell. Clearly Mr. Howdy did not land on LA Knight. You could clearly tell he was definitely on the side of him. And then I like the end where the characters in the Fire Funhouse were looking over him. I think that to me was the best image that I saw. Like I said, the match itself was not going to be anything special. It was more about the story. And that's what I liked about it. The match sucked, okay? But I liked the ending of what they did. I like Bray. I think Bray is great. But I think that's something that Bray and WWE have to work on with him is that, yes, you can give us the great promos. You can, give us these great characters. But the matches have to be a little bit better. The matches don't live up to the hype that you give us leading into this. I think it could be forgiven and excused in this particular situation because it was just more about the story and just developing the new character that clearly is not going to be the Fiend, but developing that new character and showing how you're morphing from Bray into whatever we saw, in the ring. And is this something we're going to see down the road? Now, this was more special because it was dark. So you had the special makeup like Jeff Hardy used to use that glowed. You're not going to have a pitch black match every single time. So that's the question. That's the question of, what are we going to see now going down the road with this? And speaking of which, there was a story not out too long ago about Bray Wyatt, about why he's working with a mid-card talent like LA Knight, that none of the top stars want to work with him because they feel, it's not going to make them look good because Bray is this scary character. I think that's a little unfair because think back to The Undertaker. When The Undertaker first started, everybody was scared of him. He was no-selling their moves. So, and I still think everybody made out okay. So I don't think that's fair. Same thing with Kane. When Kane first came, he no-sold a lot of stuff. You knock him down, you got right back up. So I don't think that's necessarily a fair analysis of it. Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson had matches with him. Seth had matches with him. I mean, the thing with Seth might be a little bit different because the ending of Hell in a Cell was so terrible. But they've had their matches, and I think everybody came out okay. So I don't think necessarily working with Bray hurts the people. It's just the quality of the match just needs to be better, if that makes sense. The Raw Women's match, women's titles match, again, Bianca Belair is walking into WrestleMania as a champion. It's no surprise. To tell you the truth, I was sort of back and forth. I really didn't watch the match because it's a little boring, and I really you just knew the outcome. And I was more interested in the end if Bray was going to come out, if Uncle Howdy was going to come out. Neither happened. It just ended up showing a video. So we have to see where this is going. And not to mention, are we going to see them reunite? Or is this sort of going to be like a punishment at first that you betrayed Bray, or you betrayed the Fiend? You know, you have to be punished for that, and then we can sort of go into like some sort of healing phase. So I'm kind of curious: are we forgiving the past transgression and we're moving in, or are we gonna have to pay for what you did, and then we'll sort of groom you to be better? You know what I mean? That's what I thought. But again, there was no surprise on the outcome of that match, and you know, that was that. It wasn't good, and you know, if the point was to try to further along her going back with Bray, I think that could have been better. But you know, for me, that was the time, and I hate to say it, back a few years ago with the Divas, the Divas match was always the bathroom break match because the matches stunk or they were always short. I mean, come on. We remember, when it was a whole Divas thing, 2007, 8, 9, 10, 11. The girls will go out there. They literally you have a 6-woman tag match on Raw. Okay, 6 women. Everybody got to do their entrance. The entrances were longer than the matches because somebody would come in, boom, get hit, you get pinned. Sometimes you had 6 women. Really, only 2 or 3 may have saw some action, and everybody else was still on the apron. And it's like, well, what was the point of traveling? What was the point of getting dressed? And what was the point of going to the ring doing all that if only going to have them out there for a few minutes? So they were always the bathroom break. And I really felt like, and I hate this because I love both of them. I think Alexa Bliss is great, and I think Bianca is great. But I just think this match was just not great. It was the bathroom break. And that's what I did. I got up, I went to the bathroom, I went to go fix something to eat. I ran the dogs outside so they can go to the bathroom or leave themselves so they wouldn't bother me during the last part of the show. And that's pretty much what I did. So, unfortunately, it wasn't a great match. So now the women's Royal Rumble match. This thought sort of struck me. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong. Like I said, leave your things in the comments because I really want to hear from you guys. You know how, in the men's matches, Royal Rumble matches, not this year, but, past years. You know how they'll do like that face-to-face, like, Brock and Gunther did the face-to-face thing, back of, 2016 or something like that, Bray Wyatt and Triple H did. Everybody does the face-to-face thing. Omos and Braun did it. And you get that, and the crowd sort of gives you the idea of gives WWE the idea of maybe what we want to see because of the reaction. And it was a pretty good reaction when Gunther and Brock went face-to-face. It wasn't bad. But when they do it in the women's match, it's dead. Nobody pops for anything. It is that because even though women's wrestling has changed for the better, thanks to people like Trish and Lita, Becky, Charlotte, Sasha, Bayley, Paige, or Saraya, even though AJ Lee, even though these women changed it, showing that, hey, we're better, okay? We are much better than this. We are much better than you just giving us 2 goddamn minutes to get into the ring. Give us the fucking 10 minutes. Give us the fucking 15 minutes that you give to men, and we'll blow the shit off. We'll blow this shit off the roof. That's what a lot of them do. But if that is the case, why is it that when we do those face-to-face things in the ring, especially the Royal Rumble, it's dead? It's dead. And it's because you only have a handful of women that everybody knows and loves. Becky, Bayley, the lead woman, you barely see her. Lacey Evans, what the hell are we doing with Lacey? The Southern Belle thing to me worked. I don't know what you're trying to do with her now. It's like you're still trying to keep the military thing, but instead you're just making her a heel out of it, rather than before where she was telling her story and being authentic and all that shit. That went out the window. Okay, Dewdrop was sick for a while. Piper was it Piper Niven? She was sick for a while, so you can sort of forgive that. But even though you had Shotsky there, Shayna Baszler's been there forever. Even Natalia. I mean, there's no real pop like there is for the guys, unless if maybe Becky's involved or something. But there's no pop as that. Even when Nia Jax, and that was a bit of a surprise to see Nia Jax come back. To be honest with you, I'm really surprised it took this long, because when Triple H was bringing people back left and right, for the women, I really thought Nia was going to be one of the first ones he brought back. So I'm a little surprised by how long it took for her to pop back up. I'm not a fan of hers. I think she's reckless in the ring. I think she hurts people. And it's funny, she was bad-mouthing the company, when she first got released. Now her ass is back, but then again, there's different people in charge now. But either way, she's back. But when you had Raquel and her go face-to-face, there really wasn't much of a reaction for it. And it bothered me a little bit, because these women are good. But it's like we're not featuring them. It's not as bad as AEW. It's not as bad as AEW's women's division, but the women need to be spotlighted more. And I thought partially that's what the Women Tag Team Championship belts were for. But we're not doing anything with those. And maybe there was talk about having sort of a secondary title, like the IC title, for the women. I think you might need that. I think you might. You have a Raw Women's Champion, you have a SmackDown Women's Champion, and you could just do one mid-card title, and that person can bounce around between Raw, SmackDown, and NXT. That's fine. But we hardly see that leader. We hardly see her. Emma, you somewhat seeing her. Dana Brooke has been there for God knows how long. For whatever reason, they won't give this chick a shot for nothing. Okay? I don't know what they're doing with Nikki Cross. Like I said, what are we doing with Jesus Christ? I just had her name at the tip of my tongue, but I lost it. But it was at the tip of my tongue, and I can't think of the name I was just about to say. It wasn't Lacey Evans. I forgot who it was, but Asuka came back. I hate that new music. I liked Asuka's old music. Why are they changing the music? Charlotte's new music stinks, and Asuka's music stinks. I like the new look, but the music stinks. But that's just something that I just noticed. You know, what are we doing with Liv? I'm still not understanding what the character's supposed to be after she lost her title to Ronda Rousey. Not quite understanding what that's supposed to be. So the women's division in WWE does need some work. But with that said, my pick did win the Royal Rumble, which was Rhea Ripley. And she deserved to win. Now, I will say, I got a little nervous because she was number one. And she had the spear from Beth. So I'm like, are they trying to set it up that it's Beth's fault that she lost? But she won. And I like the fact that she did it from number one. I like the fact that they had number one and number two go to the end. Just like in the Royal Rumble, which I believe Cole was correct, because I don't ever remember that you had number one versus number 30. I don't recall that at any time. Even when, Benoit and Shawn Michaels did it, the last people they eliminated was not number 30. So I like that those two little pieces that they did. 1 and 2, and then 1 and 30. I like that. I thought that was pretty good. But Rhea had to win. Now the question is, are we going to get Rhea and Bianca, or Rhea and Charlotte, because there is some history there with Charlotte, and it could be an interesting twist. Remember back when AJ Lee made her debut and she beat Paige for the title, the Divas title, and then they flipped it. AJ was out for a long time. She came back, and I think even Paige even said it. You're not going to do to me what I did to you, or whatever. And that ended up happening. So could we play off of when Charlotte won the Royal Rumble? She challenged Rhea and took her NXT Women's Championship. Now, can we flip this now? Rhea's won the Royal Rumble. Now she's going after Charlotte. My opinion, I think it's better that she goes after Bianca Belair. I could be wrong, but because Charlotte is a face, I would be surprised they would take the title off her that quickly. I could be wrong, but I would be a little surprised. I have no idea who, if Rhea doesn't pick her, I have no idea who um, Charlotte would face at Royal Rumble. I could even at WrestleMania, I couldn't even give a guess. And if Rhea ends up picking Charlotte, I have no idea who they would put in her place for Bianca to face. I have no idea because, excuse me, the most obvious and strongest person outside of Becky to me is Rhea. So it's you know reasonable and possible to think she could literally challenge either one, and that sort of gives you that predicament because like I said, do they want to build off the past with Rhea and Charlotte, or do they want to go Bianca and Rhea Ripley? I would prefer her to go after Bianca Belair, because I think it's time for Bianca Belair's reign to end. But then again, who does Charlotte face? You know? But I thought the women's Royal Rumble was slow, and I don't think it had all the exciting elements that the men's had. And it's funny, I was trying to figure out who they were going to start first. Would the women go first, or would um, the men go first? And they open with the men's Royal Rumble. But I have no idea who she would go after. And and I think if she wins, I think we might start seeing the breakup of Judgment Day as well. Because once they finish this business with Edge, I think they can disband. And I think we could see Dom and Dom and Rhea sort of continue without Damian Priest or Finn Balor. Just my opinion, because like I said plenty of times, we're gonna get Dom versus Ray, and you can see what happened with Dom taking his father's mask. That's what's gonna happen. The question is, when are we going to get this match of the mixed tag match? And I think we're gonna get that Elimination Chamber now, because for sure now that Rhea has won, it's not gonna be a WrestleMania. So I think at Elimination Chamber, you're gonna get the mixed tag of Rhea and Finn versus Edge and Beth Phoenix. I think that's when you're gonna get it, because you can't do it at WrestleMania. Or you do this match and then you have Finn versus Edge at WrestleMania. I don't know. Who knows? But I'm happy that Rhea won. She deserved to win. She's on a roll right now. And I would like to see her walk out of WrestleMania as champion. I think she's earned it. The question is who? Does it do more for her that she beats Bianca, or does it be more for her if she beats Charlotte? The reason why I'm thinking she's going to go with Bianca is because she's got to stay on Raw. with the Judgment Day? Or do they disband before then and then she goes to SmackDown? Or do they stay together but she challenges Charlotte, she wins, and it's like, well, now she can't be on Raw. And then does she take Dom with her and they both go to SmackDown? And that's how we split up Judgment Day. You know? Rather than there just being internal strife, it's just, well, I won, I have to go here, Dom's coming with me. He's gonna stick with mommy. So we got to see how they're going to do that. But overall, I think you had two strong matches, two decent, and one bad. You know, but overall, I don't think the event was bad. We're officially on the road to WrestleMania, which, as I told you, I am pumped. I love this time of year because it's funny how like the year goes by so quick, but then when you're in January, all you're thinking is about NFL playoffs, Super Bowl in February. I'm sorry, you're thinking Royal Rumble in January, Super Bowl, football playoffs, NFL playoffs, um, Super Bowl, and then WrestleMania. And then for some of you, March Madness. I'm not a March Madness person, but I think that's how you think about it. Once you get to December, it's like, wow, okay, we're about to get into some really exciting time for sports or sports entertainment. But I hope you guys enjoyed the event. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you think about mine. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm crazy. But definitely leave some comments. Definitely hit the like. Please subscribe. And, I'll be back soon with another video because there is always news in wrestling. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Almost said tomorrow, but let's see what happens on Monday with Cody and Rhea. And Thursday we'll find out what happened with the Bloodline, or Friday rather. And have a good week because I'm tired. It's almost 1 a.m. I had class today. I spent the majority of my Saturday in the city, so I am a little out of it. I'm about to go pass out. I'm a little surprised it's 1 a.m. Damn, man, they kind of flew by. Anyway, guys, take care. Hope you enjoyed the video. Leave your comments. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I'll talk to you later.